All right, here we are again. I mentioned in the past ice baths, so I wanted to very lightly, it's not hard information to find. The reason I do it is the older you get, the easier it is to just get inflammation. The inflammation will cut you down. It's going to cut you down like the devil. Whatever you can do to eliminate the inflammation, because there is a hysterical, out of control response. Inflammation is very good. It's got a job. It's protecting you. Then why is it bad? Because there's too much of it. Why is there too much of it? Because of our diets, because of our lifestyle, because we are a deeply unnatural culture. This is not America or the West. This is how the world tends to be. The idea that hunter-gatherers were so perfect, they had generally speaking, a very limited access to nutritional sources. So they use everything that they can, but it's not optimal depending on their environment. So the point is, we tend to inflammation. It gets hysterical. You get a bang, and instead of a little bit to repair it, bring healing materials next to it, you go out of control. This is a very bad thing. SIS, silent inflammation syndrome. Avoid it as much as you can. Now, ice baths, and I'm loosely speaking ice baths. It's really cold baths. I've talked about that. If the water is 32 degrees, then it's an ice bath. If it's higher than that, it's a bath that has ice in it. It's a cold bath. So you can see a little bit tricksters. You put some warm water, you dump some ice in it. It all floats on the top. You're in this kind of warm bath, maybe not warm, but not distressing, and it looks like an ice bath. Well, that's a jokey way of doing it. What you want is in the 50s. Generally speaking, anywhere from 50 to, under 60, because it's in the 50s. Water temperature, I don't know how ambient that is. You submerge yourself up to your neck. It really does have an anti-inflammatory effect. A couple of things about that. If you are trying to get big, you're lifting weights, you're working out, you're doing bodybuilding, you do not want to take an ice bath, because a fair bit of that size is sarcoplasma, which is, just speaking loosely, it is inflammation. You've irritated the fiber. I say muscle cell, and that's just me speaking loosely. Fiber is a little bit persnickety. So you've irritated the muscle cell with high reps of moderate weight over and over and over and over again. If you take a cold bath, you dampen that response and you undo some of the bodybuilding effect. But if that's not your particular purpose, then go ahead and take a cold bath after the workout. About 10 to 12 minutes is said to be an effective time. Anything more than that, I've said, is you're in a cold bath now. Big deal. There are a number of, I would say, psychological benefits to doing this. You just make yourself tougher. You adapt to it. You don't mind it so much. It's not the big thing. If you do it, you don't have to do it on a daily basis. 2 or 3 times a week is going to cool things down. Now I have an app. It's called Welltory, like inventory, but well, like are you well today? And you can get it free online. And you put I thought of the idea. And I said, somebody must have invented this. And I went looking. And sure enough, it was invented. You can take your HRV, which we'll talk about sometime. You can take your heart rate variability, measure it. It's one of those metrics that is meaningful. You want to track that the way you want to track morning heart rate. And that's what this app does. You put your finger on the flashlight, and the camera's right next to it. You can see your heart rate. And then, being intelligent, they figured out how to measure some of the sub data in a heart rate. And the very nice thing is it gives you an insight. Your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system. It gives you an insight into those two systems. That's very cool. Now here's my point. After a cold bath, 10, 12, even more minutes in that, I have used that app. And my sympathetic system, the one that tells you about stress outside, this is a dangerous environment, I better be very aware of it, that one is really, really low, very calm. And the other one, the parasympathetic, which tells you about how things are going inside, it's the rest and digest, as opposed to the fight-flight. We'll talk about that sometime. But the parasympathetic is rest and all that internal stuff, being calm. It is very, very, it's optimized. You've got a lot of energy and stress, as I think how they call it. You've just got supposedly a lot of energy. And then my HRV, that number, is very, very high. which means I'm very responsive to the environment, which is a good thing. My heart is relaxed enough to be able to be aware. HRV, it's an insight into your central nervous system, into your autonomic nervous system, and very valuable. And one of the ways of manipulating your autonomic system is a cold bath in ERs, emergency rooms. Old people come in, and ER doctors can kind of predict when somebody is getting ready to die. They can do this by a very, very low heart rate variability. If your heart is going boom, 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 very steady, it doesn't have to be fast, but it's very, very steady. It is pounding at a single rhythm. That's deeply stressed. The most important thing is for you to be pumping blood into your limbs. Your system is unaware of any other need. Whereas if you relax, your heart rate varies. If you go a little faster, a little slower. We used to think that, no, we want it to be steady. And no, you don't. Turns out HRV tells us that. The more responsive the HRV is to the environment, the more at one with your environment, as it were, you are. So when you wake up, if you've had a decent night's sleep, your HRV should be pretty high. There's a lot of variability. And if you're in a really tight, stressful situation, it's very low. And I'll tell you this, I don't know, because I don't know the app except that I have used it. I don't know what everybody else's numbers are, but I'm old. And if I do a really tough workout, my HRV, according to their metrics, not real, but whatever system they're using, whatever their numbers are to get the data and analyze it, according to them, I've seen my HRV in the low 20s. And to me, that's just about dead. And I don't sweat it because, I just did a really, really hard thing. My body is very, very stressed. And I'll do some breathing, and that's another one of those. Ice bath is a lifestyle thing that really makes a difference. Breathing, structured breathing, another one of those things that really makes a difference. So I'll do some breathing and restore my HRV and my autonomic system, nervous system, to healthy ranges. And if I do the breathing, when I'm calm and I do the breathing, it's like I'm the Buddha. It looks very good. So the fact is that you can manipulate these otherwise inaccessible parts of your body. But sometimes I'll use that app or some other device. This is one of those devices. Fitbit, very simple, probably pretty low tech by now, I don't know. But it gives me some data points, and I like that. These devices will tell me, oh, I'm very stressed. And I don't feel stressed. And yeah, that's right, you don't feel stressed because the autonomic nervous system it's unconscious. It doesn't get to the part of the brain that your brain that knows what's going on. It's completely back and bottom of the brain. So the fact that you're not aware of your HRV, unless you take a measurement, but you're just not consciously aware of it, that's expected. I'm not aware that my heart is beating or that I'm digesting food or that what my blood pressure is doing. It's doing something. It doesn't depend on my brain to make it happen. It's interesting. You can see, oh, there is a problem. I'm not even aware of it. And there is a problem, and you can manipulate that. You can fix it. The way you're weak, you can make yourself strong. And you're sick, and you can make yourself well. And your central nervous system is not operating in a really good way. You can do something about that. All of this is, I haven't really talked about the HRV. This is ice baths. You do this to take care of aches and pains, to reduce inflammation. And I'll say it one more time. I have had a very anti-inflammatory diet, and there are herbs and just general ways of eating that do that. And this is another one of those things that takes care of inflammation. At my time of life, I don't want to wear out. I don't want to rust out. I want to keep on going. And one of the ways I can do that is just you manipulate the numbers as best you can. Honestly, you improve them honestly. It's not a competition. My HRV is better than your HRV, but my HRV is better than it used to be. And that's the legitimate comparison. Be competitive with yourself. On there. Have a great day.